Hello everyone, my name is Jikan, and welcome back to Pixel Kingdoms talking about OSDD and DID. Today we are going to be talking about littles. Now, littles, I'm pretty sure almost everyone that knows about dissociative identity disorder and its variants know what littles are. I believe it's one of the most common alters that are known among these systems because, well, they're quite bizarre, or a lot of people think. And you'd think that information on them would be easier to be found, but a lot of systems seem to be very secretive about their littles and seem to be very conservative about how they come out and how they talk. And I think it makes sense. I do, because as you may know, or you may not know, littles are kids trapped within an adult body. Now, I want to clear some misconceptions that there are here in this scenario, and it's that when we say that littles are kids trapped in an adult's body, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are absolute kids. One of the most common misconceptions I've seen about littles is that they don't know how to talk, or they don't know how to write, or they need assistance doing absolutely everything that they are doing. That is false, in the sense that littles are adults in their own way. They think and they know what an adult would know. It's not like they're gonna be walking around babbling or not knowing how to walk or crawling everywhere. They have the basic skills of any other adult person, just that they have more of a childish mentality. This childish mentality is what makes them littles. It makes them more childish in the sense that they are more prone to be perhaps hyperactive, or they're prone to be more cutesy. Now, within our system, we don't have littles. That is one thing I wanted to touch on, because at first we thought that was really strange, and we were really scared because we thought littles were a necessity for being diagnosed with OSDD or DID. We thought that since they were some of the common alters, and one of the things we knew the most of, we thought that not having a little meant we were faking our diagnosis. And we thought that perhaps that would prove to be our downfall, and would prove to be the thing that shows that we are not real. But upon further investigation and upon further learning, we learned that it is actually not uncommon. Well, I wouldn't say it's common to have littles, or a system without littles, but it is definitely seen. That's one of the things I wanted to touch on, mentioning that it changes between system to system are drastic. A system can have a lot of littles or no littles, and that doesn't invalidate you. It only should make you feel better, should make you feel more capable of everything you know. Now, I'm getting off topic here. I want to keep it focused on littles. So littles, they are adults. You know, they know how to talk, they know how to write, they understand big words as well. It doesn't mean that they are adults. I have had an experience with a little, and my partner system actually has one. Her name is Daisy, and don't worry, this information I'm giving out is consented. I know they don't mind if I give this information. Daisy is a little, and she's everything you'd expect a child trapped in an adult body to be. She has a very anxious personality, but she has a very cutesy personality. I hear her talk to herself all the time in a very quiet voice, checking in with her system mates, whether she can do something or what she wants to do. And she is very cute. She's very small and like a kid. Now, why do I mention Daisy? Daisy used to be the host of the system, and for the longest time she wasn't aware that she was a little. And it's just one of those things that happens when you don't really understand the illness, or not the illness, sorry, I don't like calling it that, the disorder. And that's something I wanted to touch on because she struggled a lot thinking that she was an adult and being treated as one. Because littles are not meant to be adults. They're not meant to be the people that go out and do chores. That is all too much for them. Not because they can't, because they can. They're capable of living and being and existing as if they were adults. The thing is that their mind and the way they process things are more childlike. And, well, if you know anything about psychology and you know anything about, saying to children the truths of life, you know that's a big and utter no-no. You can't tell a child the imminence of death, and you can't tell a child, the passing of time. But these were all things that Daisy had to grow up and live with, because she was expected to be an adult. What did this do, and what happened? It's that Daisy says she was supposed to be a little, and she was supposed to be treated like one. She fell into anxiety, and she became very, very anxious about everything, most specifically death. The reasoning for this is because imagine the feeling of waking up one day and finding out that you lost maybe 20 years of your life. You still feel like a 20-year-old, but you may be in the body of a 40-year-old. The feeling that life has passed by is something that both littles and teens suffer within systems, and something that I don't see touched on enough. Why is this so important? Well, I think it's very important to mention that littles need to be treated like children. They like being treated like children because they are. Because it's unfair to expect every other alter to be treated human, to be treated as another separate human being, and yet not treat a little as what they are, a child, a baby. This is very important because it's one of the most important things that needs to be learned about how to treat someone with dissociative identity disorder, or OSDD, is that you shouldn't treat littles as adults. You can treat them sort of like adults. You can talk to them as adults, but try to keep everything you would do with a little something you would do with a child. For instance, I wake up every day and I make Daisy a chocolate little, one of those chocolate drinks, and I make her a sandwich. In fact, the activities Daisy and I share are reading and talking, and I cuddle her and pamper her a lot, because that's what I would do with a child. And you'd be amazed and surprised at the amount of good this has done for her mental health. Now, that's not to say that she's cured completely from the years in which she dealt with being an adult. That's not to say that she doesn't have panic attacks and fear. One of the main reasonings for this is because, and don't quote me on this because I'm actually not 100% sure, but I once read that littles are more likely to be trauma holders. And Daisy suffers a lot with interpersonal connections, because since she's so childlike and so baby-like, she likes to interact with adults and sees them as parental figures in a different way where you or I would, because we are both adults. For anyone who can be our friend, to her they could be her parent. This is imperative to keep in mind because littles are not adults. It's easy to forget because of the way they look and sometimes even the way they act. It's astounding how intelligent the little can be, but at the same time how childlike they can be. One of the struggles I've seen littles deal with, and I will only touch on this a little bit because I don't want to take future topics from, people who might want to speak about them, but it's the fact of dysphoria and how harsh it is on littles. Now, I suffer from dysphoria myself every once in a while, and if you don't know what dysphoria is, it's the feeling of not being in your body. Dysphoria, we'll touch more on that in a future video, not episode. But when it comes to littles and their dysphoria, it's a dysphoria of everything. They are big, the females are, they have reproductive organs. And there have been a lot of troubles that Daisy has suffered with because of this. In fact, she struggles watching kids shows because it brings her discomfort because of the way it looks from the outside. And I think that's unfair. And that is why I wanted to stress on the topic. And I wanted to bring light to the topic that littles should be treated like littles. Like little girls and little boys. Every time we are on a supermarket, I'll take Daisy through the toy aisle. And every day I will wake up and make her chocolate, and I will keep playing with her and joking with her the way I would with a kid. Because the way her mental health has increased is dramatically large. Simply because of this one action. Something that might seem so insignificant. But I've seen her smile more, I've seen her laugh more. And that's why it's so important to treat littles as a kid. Just as much as alters desire to be treated as different people. Just as much as I wish to be treated as a different person from other members of my system. Littles want to be treated like kids. And I know they don't act like one. But sometimes it's important. Well, they do act like one. But more like they don't read like one, or they don't talk like one in some areas. But it is very important to remember that to them, this is the most important thing in the world. Just one single action, kind of like looking for the approval of another person who tells you, you did good. A person who respects you and tells you that you accomplished something, and that feeling of pride you get, and that feeling of accommodation for all the people who make part of the LGBT, that feeling of being accepted is the exact same feeling I can only assume littles feel when they are treated the way they are supposed to. So, if you ever encounter a little, please do your best to treat them as one. Be kind, be nice, be soft. Because they process things differently from us. And it's important to remember that they are kids. It's important to remember that they are just stuck on an adult body just as much as we all are. I don't even think those who don't have this disorder feel completely comfortable and happy in their body. So if this is a tough situation for you, try to think of how it feels to be a kid and going through this same situation. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it a ton. And please be kind and be understanding. Have a good day.